It's concerning our bingo and our car raffle evening, which is this coming Saturday at the Bel Air Community Center. It'll be starting from 7:30 and hopefully we'll be terminating around 1 a.m. in the morning, because it's bingo. During the bingo, we will be raffling that long-awaited car that we had since last year, but due to the hurricane, it was postponed. At this moment, I must say that the bingo sale and the car raffle sales are going very good.
Yeah.
We are really, let's say the last tickets are being sold for both the bingo and the car raffle. Let's start by the bingo first. As you know, it will be at Bel Air, so the site where the location where it is going to be much more smaller. We are going to have about 800 tickets, 800, and that's it. Only 800 people will be allowed in, so that there's space enough for people to sit and enjoy their bingo. What will happen is that once inside, you'll have, as you know how the setup is in theater style. On the inside, we'll have about 3. On the outside, we'll have about another 200. On the other side, about 200 people. And in the back also, we'll have people sitting theater style. We'll have, just like how we always have in the festival village, we'll have our members there with microphones, so that when anyone ball out bingo, we could stop right away and have them check the bingo. Okay? Like I said, also during that evening, we'll be pulling the raffle for the car. I do not know if everyone saw the car, but if you have the chance, you could go to the Carrefour this afternoon. We'll be still selling some tickets there. You can see how beautiful the car is. I must say, since the car has been shown, the enthusiasm for the car has become very big, very big. I myself wish I could have taken it and put it in my garage, but apparently that is not allowed, because then it would be fraud. So I would like to ask all members, all community people in the community to come out, support our bingo, support our car raffle, because as you know, that is where our funds are that we need to go back into the community. One, for instance, we just held a big community project, which was the eyesight, where we spent about roughly $35,000 to $36,000 on that. And that is money that was raised via the community, and we have put it back into the community. So that's why we always have our fundraising projects towards this.
Saturday, June 16th, 2018. Bingo drive back again. Tell your family and friends. 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. Community Center in Bel Air. $10 you have to pay in order to win. So come down to Wally, have a tongue. Bingo drive, it's going to be fun. Bingo, 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 bingo. Airline tickets, hotel stays, that's not all. Sorts of goodies to be won. Bingo, 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 bingo. Yes, folks, the Lions Pre-Fathers Day Bingo is on this coming Saturday, June 16th at the Bel Air Community Center in Cahill. We will also be raffling the car at the same night at the bingo drive. So come out, folks, and have fun and win a car at the same time. Anybody bingo? Nobody bingo.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard to 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Tell them, connecting you.
This draft ordinance is part of a package of draft legislation which was pending in the Parliament of the former Netherlands Antilles. When in October 2010 the Netherlands Antilles was dissolved, this draft law, amongst others, was forwarded to the Parliament of St. Martin to further handling on the basis of Article Additional 4 of the Constitution. This amending ordinance provides for some technical changes in the National Ordinance on Administrative Court Procedures to make these procedures more effective and efficient. It is based on the administrative procedures provisions of the Dutch General Administrative Law Act. It is desirable from the perspective of certainty of law, and given the fact that Curaçao and St. Martin share the same court system, namely the Joint Court of Justice, that especially the process laws should be uniform, but does not necessarily have to be. It should also be pointed out that Article 39 of the Kingdom Charter stipulates that the law of the Kingdom countries should be in concordance with each other as much as possible. This amending ordinance promotes uniformity and concordance within the administrative process legislation. It serves the principle of legal certainty and is to the benefit of all who seek legal redress against decisions from an administrative body. Therefore, I ask this esteemed body to approve this amending ordinance in the next scheduled public meeting.
Madam Chair, the draft law before us is an amendment to the law of 2001. So this law has been enforced for 9 years in the Netherlands Antilles before 10-10-10. And according to the Memorie van Toelichting, the elucidation that describes the amended law before us today, it was a good law and it served its purpose well. However, it needed to be tweaked here and there. So the Minister of Justice made the changes and submitted the law as a draft to the Parliament of the Netherlands Antilles via the Governor of the Netherlands Antilles on October 6, 2010, which was just 4 days before the Parliament was dissolved. So what do we know about this amended law? We know that the Judicial Department of the Netherlands Antilles drafted this amended law. We know that it was scrutinized by the Council of Advice of the Netherlands Antilles. We know that this amended law was discussed in the Central Committee of the Parliament of Curaçao on May 28, 2014. And we know that in the Central Committee, the Curaçao parliamentarians asked some questions but in general, they did not have a problem with this law. Basically, the law, as they said, was a good one. It served its purpose, and the amendments proposed were to improve the law that had been enforced since 2001. So basically, Madam Chair, I myself do not have a problem with supporting this amended law. I think that the rights of our people, when it comes to disputes with government and legal redress, that those rights of our people are well protected by this law. And also important to note is that once this law is passed and enforced, it will not have any additional financial consequences for government. So from these perspectives, Madam Chair, I do not have a problem with passing this law tomorrow, so to speak. However, I do have a problem with the procedure. I believe, Madam Chair, that this amended law should not have come to the Central Committee at this stage, but that it should have been sent to one of the permanent committees of this Parliament. Which committee? Well, that would be perhaps up to you to decide, but perhaps the Committee for Justice. And so when this law was submitted to the Minister of Justice, it could have gone to that Permanent Committee for Justice. Madam Chair, you would recall that just a few weeks ago in this same setting of a Central Committee meeting, we discussed whether it made sense to have so many permanent and ad hoc committees, or even if we should have committees at all. And as you would know, I said then, and I still am, in favor of having committees, but not for the show, and not for the name, but committees that would work and that would be effective. I believe that a small committee could have done the work that 15 highly paid parliamentarians were expected to do in preparation for the discussion on this law. Madam Chair, the preparation for this Central Committee today, as far as it pertains to this amended law, is really something that I believe could have been done by the Permanent Committee of Justice, for example. As I was preparing for this meeting, I was saying to myself, this is what a committee should be doing. In the first place, I read the documentation submitted to us by the griffier, but that documentation only related to the amendments to the original law. So then I realized that we didn't get all the documentation because we did not get the original law, namely de Landsverordening van de 3 augustus 2001, houdende regels betreffende de administratieve rechtspraak. So after downloading this law, and when I began to go through it, I saw that the law was based on the Staatsregeling Nederlandse Antillen. It was based on the Samenwerkingsregeling Nederlandse Antillen en Aruba. And both of these laws are obsolete because the Netherlands Antilles doesn't exist anymore.
People all across St. Martin are switching to a more rewarding experience. The WIP MasterCard Fun Miles credit card, better known as My Card. Earn 1 Fun Mile for every $2 spent, even abroad and online. This will quickly get you a ton of fun miles to redeem for travel, shopping, food, fuel, and much more. But there's more to My Card. Worldwide acceptance, an EMV chip for extra security, and 250 free fun miles with first use. Switch to My Card today at WIB.
Fun miles from within your reach.
Tell them, connecting you.
My first remark would also be with regards to the, so to speak, the elucidation from the minister, Madam Chair. I think whenever being presented with laws, it would also help, especially, some of the more salient point and changes when we're talking about a amended law, if those in particular could be highlighted for the purpose of Parliament, but also keeping in mind the fact that, this is also a publicly aired and broadcasted meeting, so it would help, for the layman as well, to really highlight some of those salient points. A nice 5 to 10 minutes extra on those particular changes also helps, but I do appreciate Madam Chair, your explanation in terms of the process and how we've come to where we are today, as well as that of the minister. Madam Chair, one of the things in observing the changes that I really wanted to look at this also from an efficiency perspective in terms of the changes that we make to any court system within our legal structure, including the administrative court. We know that in St. Martin, there's been, whether you look in criminal or civil or administrative legal situations, we've had cases ran for really extended periods of time, and it's good to see that there are some changes. For example, the appeal period being 6 weeks, these important changes to the law. It's good to see that. However, I would also like to ask if the minister and their team, in terms of what other aspects of efficiency, in terms of the efficiency and the processes of the administrative court that need to be addressed. In particular, what I was also looking at is in some similar laws, there are cases where in the event that there's emergency or a disaster, what happens in such a case. I remember, for example, after Irma, where the court had created an extension in terms of delaying the number of cases we had. And I was curious, actually, if that is something that is embedded in the law, or that's a decision that the joint courts take on their own. So from an administrative perspective, especially with regards to the time it takes for some of these cases to be resolved, if there's in the event of a disaster, so what happens then? I also take that from the perspective of backlog. Have we also, in amending this law, addressed the situation in terms of, from a current perspective, what is the operations of the administrative court at this stage? Do they see a significant backlog at this time? What is their workload like? Have we consulted with them based on this workload to figure out whether there's some additional changes to the law necessary for this court to conduct itself more efficiently in processing all of its cases? One of the things, Madam Chair, is also in terms of this law and its interaction with other laws and other changes that this Parliament is going to be addressing. Recently, we had the Minister of Finance present to us the importance of changing the law with regards to financial information sharing and such. So I also asked if the Minister of Justice has taken into account some of the other amendments that have been coming to Parliament, and to ensure that there's no conflicts, that if we change, for example, the way we report our finances, does this have implications in the way such a dispute, if somebody, for example, says, hey, well, I don't agree with sharing this financial information, is that something the administrative court has to handle? And do we now have a situation where you have a conflict? In terms of costs, I just always like to also know if there's any financial implications in the amending of any law that is presented to Parliament. So I would like to ask, as a result of this and any processes that change in the amendment of this law, do we now have any additional costs? Do we foresee that maybe there'll be a need for more staff or any such situation as a result of the amending of this law that would have financial consequences or even perhaps financial savings? It's always good as the body that handles the budget of the country to know that we're looking also at the financial perspective. And also, Madam Chair, in terms of representation costs or any legal fees that anyone making use of the administrative court, are representation costs covered in any way? And also, from government's perspective, what are the current budgeted costs for cases being handled in government's defense if there's a situation where government is using the administrative court? What does that normally cost us on a yearly basis, the use of legal fees in the operations of this court? So not the payment of the administration of the court itself, but the budgeted cost of government actually having cases from an administrative perspective.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
In my opinion, everything is perfect and you would be great for the job. But I see here that there's a 2-year gap in your resume. What did you do?
I was hospitalized for mental illness.
Oh, mental illness?
I've undergone treatment and I have a wonderful family that supports me.
Well, that is good news.
No, it's fine. I'm recovered.
We'll contact you, okay?
For a better understanding of mental health and what you can do to stop mental health stigma, please go to the Mental Health Foundation's website at www.mhf-sxm.com.
Bingo. Yeah. Bingo. Yeah. Saturday, June 16th, 2018. Bingo drive back again. Tell your family and friends. 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. Community Center in Bel Air. $10 you have to pay in order to win. So come down to Wally, have a tongue. Bingo drive, it's going to be fun. Bingo. Airline tickets, hotel stays, that's not all. Sorts of goodies to be won. Bingo. Yes, folks, the Lions Pre-Fathers Day Bingo is on this coming Saturday, June 16th at the Bel Air Community Center in Cahill. We will also be raffling the car at the same night at the bingo drive. So come out, folks, and have fun and win a car at the same time. Anybody bingo? Nobody bingo.
%58 of all applications are for countries in the region, such as the United States, Canada, and the Caribbean region. And compared to the 42% with an interest to access Europe. The most popular place of study, therefore, remains to be the US, followed by the Netherlands, and then Canada. The average age of the applicants increased somewhat to 20 years old. And the oldest applicant that submitted, which is interesting, was 55. And probably want to indeed consider possibilities to further advance studies as well. And the youngest applicant was 16. 42%, so 97 of the applications are from students who are presently, therefore, in exam classes in secondary education, secondary schools on island, while 8% of the applications are from persons who are already in tertiary level education and therefore would want to advance further. The balance, 50%, came from persons who are not attending school presently, which is a very important analysis and observations as well that we have to continue to follow. 50% of the applicants were not in school and therefore may have completed their studies last year, but needed a year in between. In Dutch they now term it as een tussenjaar before they advance further. May this be associated with the choices that they may wanted to postpone, not certain what they would study. May it be related to financial challenges, may it be related to maybe following a GED exam in order to strengthen their results and therefore improve their possibility to advance in tertiary education. The top 5 most popular areas of studies are business administration and management. That's their interest, not considered a priority study, by the way. That's what I've been informed. Psychology and social sciences, medical and life sciences, ICT, computer sciences, and number 5, accounting and finance. You will, and the students will be further informed in the weeks ahead, so that indeed the advancement of the preparations of their departure will follow. We just recently in the Council of Ministers also approved the travel associated with either going to the Caribbean to the US or the Netherlands. I also have been informed by the director of the exam bureau, Dr. Yvette Holly, that indeed the FBE exit examination results are in for primary schools. And I must compliment Mrs. Holly with her entire team for the immediate and speedy availability of the results, because we were very eager to follow what would happen after the impact of Irma. Would we have seen a change in the patterns from the previous year? A deterioration maybe of the results? Would that indeed be a signal that we have to take a closer look